Happy Monday. All right, I'm going live on Instagram. We're live on Instagram. We're live on Facebook. I don't know what's going to happen. Facebook has crapped out on me the past couple times that we've gone live. So if that happens again, I'm very sorry. I don't know why it's doing that. Get it together. Get it together, Mark Zuckerberg. All right, you guys. Before we dig in, I want everyone to grab their glass of whatever they're drinking and take a sip because you all deserve it. I deserve it because my child got staples in her head on Friday, and that was super not awesome. So I have been a little bit of a disaster ever since. My mind is not right yet because I don't care how strong of a woman or a mother you think you are, when you have to sit there and watch your toddler get staples in her head, it is a harrowing experience that I would not wish on anybody. So that's why this is happening tonight. So cheers to you guys. And we'll start from there. Okay. My mother's here though. I see my mom. I'm 10. I got a juice box. Great. Okay. We're going to start with my closet lipstick because my mom's here and she gets really bent out of shape when I don't have lipstick on. Okay, Mom? There you go. It's not $2 Chuck, Brian. Is that what you're drinking? Are you a $2 Chuck Trader Joe's frequenter? I used to buy that stuff by the case. I am actually drinking a Carmenere. I'm going to say it wrong. Carmenere. I don't know. Everyone pronounces it differently. That's what I'm drinking tonight. And it's delicious. It's doing the trick. All right. So I was talking to a friend last week. Hi, Pam. Cheers to you as well and that delicious little baby. I was talking to a friend and we were talking about first jobs and expectations and things that happen when you get first jobs and payment and all that kind of stuff. And it made me think about my first job and the worst job I've ever had. So I threw out the question to you guys asking what the worst job you ever had was. And if you were willing to share, even if your worst job wasn't your first job, I wanted to know what your first job out of college or your first real job ever, what you got paid, so that we could do a little comparison. Because what I'm learning as my older one gets older and is going to be in middle school in a year after next year, and I have friends with kids going to college, and I hear all these kids talking about salaries and what they want to do after school. Their heads are so in the clouds, and I say that not in an unsupportive, like they shouldn't shoot for the stars, but I feel like people need to be taken back down to reality. And I know that times have changed since my demographic has been in school, but let me just give you my situation, then you guys can chime in. I graduated with a 4-year degree. I then went on and got my master's degree. So I thought I was going to come out in the early 2000s and I was going to be rolling in money with a starting salary of like $60,000 to $80,000 a year, working my way up the ladder. That's totally what I thought was going to happen. You know what my starting salary was with a master's degree and a paid internship before that? So I actually had experience. Anyone want to guess? I'll give you a clue that my job was in public relations for an agency down here in Miami. Anyone want to guess what my first paying job was? Anyone? Bueller? Everyone's commenting, but no one's talking about prices. All right. My first salaried job out of college was $25,000. Someone said 24. Kelly, you are so close. $25,000 a year with a master's degree and experience. I wish $40K. If I would have gotten $40K, I would have fallen over. $25,000 a year. And I literally went home and cried. I cried. And my parents were like, listen, if this is really what you want to do and you want to build a career in this, you live at home, because I lived at home right after college. They're like, you live at home. We're paying the majority of your bills. So like, if you're going to do it, this is the time to do it. And I did. And because I wasn't paying bills, I then lived semi-irresponsibly. And every paycheck I got, I was buying Gucci purses and things as if I was like a baller, but I was making $25,000 a year, but just had no bills because my parents were incredible to me. So that's a lesson in what not to do. Brian on Instagram says college can be a scam. So I don't think college is a scam, but I truly believe that that there needs to be, and maybe this exists and I'm just so old now that I don't know. I feel like when kids are in college, there needs to be some kind of primer or course or something that gives them like a realistic expectation of what they can look to get or earn with their degree outside of school. Because if you would have told me that I was going to be making $25,000 a year with a master's degree and experience, I would have been like, you're insane. I feel like they need a dose of reality and they need to know. Pam says, don't start teaching unless you really love kids. You don't make money, you always spend it on your students. So you are so right, Pam. And that's why I love teachers, but good teachers. My kids have had some questionable ones in the past, but we've been really good for the last few years. And teachers have it bad because they are with our children and they're getting paid such shit, at least in Florida. I know in some other parts of the country it's a little bit better, but in Florida, our teachers get paid such shit and they are with our kids all day. And I truly appreciate my kids' teachers. I try and take care of them during holidays and if it's their birthday or whatever, to do anything I can because I really, really love them. So that was my first salary for my first real job out of college. But that wasn't my worst job. I actually loved that job. My worst job ever was when I was in college. I thought it would be awesome to work at the golf course. I went to University of Florida, go Gators, and I thought it would be awesome to work at the golf course because I figured in my head I would drive the little snack cart around and I would make bank and tips. Like I would make so much money in tips. I was thinking I was going to be like making it rain tip money and it would be awesome. Me too. In Orlando, we had very few years of great teachers. My sister teaches grade 3 in Canada and makes $96,000. Right. In New York too, they make so much more. It's crazy how teachers get paid in Florida. Okay. So I worked at a golf course and my job was to drive the snack cart, drink cart around and offer beverages and snacks to people, take their money, and then hopefully they would tip me. And it was very, very like Snickers bars for 75 cents or a Diet Coke. It wasn't like high-end stuff. The other thing you need to know about me is I have the worst sense of direction. Like I would get lost in a paper bag. I'm the person who needs navigation, not just on my phone. I need it built into my car. I cannot find my way anywhere. It's bad. So this probably wasn't, in retrospect, a really good job for me to have. And what ended up happening is not only did I have to drive a golf cart, I didn't know that it was going to have like a cage around it so that I didn't get hit by rogue golf balls. So I drove around in a caged golf cart, making circles in the same areas over and over and over again because I had no fucking clue where I was going. No clue where I was going. And not only that, the people were so cheap. I figured most people who play golf have good expendable income because they're playing golf and golf is not a cheap hobby to have. So I figured, all right, I'll make like, a couple dollars here and there every stop. No, I would sell like a Snickers bar for 75 cents and they'd give me $1. Not that that's like bad, but at the time when I was, probably 20, 21 years old, I thought they would be much more generous and they were not. So I needed to get out. Oh, and I also had to wear like pleated khaki shorts and a polo. And I was like, there's nothing about this that's okay for me. So I went in the next day and lied and said that I had to help. I think I said I had to help my family business. I don't have a family business. I had to help my family business. Someone quit something. I don't know. I made up some concocted thing and I quit. I've never really quit a job like that in my life. But I quit on day 2. I didn't even make it to day 2. I gave the keys back. I gave the uniform back. I was donezo. I wanted nothing to do with it. Worst job I've ever had. Golfers can be such dicks. Yeah, true story. They can. Okay. So I want to read what some of you guys wrote about what your worst jobs or what your salaries were. And we're going to get into that. Okay. My first job was a dietary at a nursing home when I was in high school. It paid $8 an hour. $8 an hour. Like you guys, something's wrong with our country. Worst job was Bath and Body Works during the holidays. First job paid $6 an hour. That's the other thing. I don't know how much, oh my God, my mom's commenting on Instagram. I can't believe she can work it. She was a waitress in Howard Johnson's. Do you want to tell everyone why you got fired from working at Howard Johnson's? Or would you like me to tell that story? I don't know what minimum wage is now, but I know it's higher than that. I can't believe when you look back at like a lot of these people are probably in my age bracket, but I just can't believe it's bad. Daycare director, mostly because of pastor and his daughter, church run, they lied and took it got cut off. Food from daycare, I think it said, and that is disgusting. O'Brien, you're here. Worse, landscaping at a golf course, aka weed whacking and ditch digging. And your first job was 5 15 hours a cashier. So you get the golf pain. My mom wants me to tell. So my mom worked at Howard Johnson's well before my brother and I were born. I don't even think she was married to my dad yet. I think they had just met. And she got fired because two things happened. Number one, my mom's sassy. I don't know where I get it from. My mom's a little bit sassy. And these old ladies came in and they ordered ice cream. And so she gave them their ice cream. And one of the ladies was like, usually when they scoop it, there's a lip around the edge. And my mom like grabbed it back aggressively from her and took her ice cream away. Wait, minimum wage nationally is $7.25 still. Stop it. It is? I thought it was higher than that. That's horrible. My mom said she was 21. Oh, so my golf cart experience age, same age. And then she also lied and said she knew how to run a cash register because she wanted the job. And she did not know how to run a cash register, and it came up short all the time, and she got fired. Pick up bodies for a funeral home. No. Oh, God. I don't think I could work for a funeral home ever. Okay. Cleaning houses for the upper class people, $7.25 an hour. April White, that is highway robbery. $7.25 an hour for cleaning houses is not okay. Okay, I was a cashier at Kmart, and I'm pretty sure I made like $4 an hour. True story, my first babysitting job, I was 12, and I babysat with a friend of mine because we were too scared to stay alone, but we wanted to babysit. They paid us $5 an hour that we split between the two of us. So I think we made $10 every Saturday night. Federal minimum wage is super low. Each state is more or less. Some are less. I know, it's bad. It's bad. Brett, the Enchanted Forest, Merrick Road, children's parties, $4 an hour ripoff. I cannot see you. That's my cousin. I cannot see you working. Did you have to wear like an elf costume? Because that would be even better. My friend Jenny says, being a mom, I get paid $0. This is true. We get paid $0. We get paid in slobbery kisses and hugs. First real job with benefits, $9.37 per hour back in 2004. Unbelievable. Worst job was in a bank in a bad neighborhood. My first real job was at Dairy Queen, making $9 an hour. Irish Boys for me on Instagram, you were killing it at $9 an hour. That's like, I mean, that's crazy. You serve pizza to spoiled South Shore brats. That's my cousin. But did you wear a costume? I need to know if you had to dress in any kind of Christmas garb. Okay. Client services in a law firm, mandatory overtime for $17 an hour. Oh, I mean, 17 is obviously much higher than minimum wage, but that sounds like torture. Worst job I have now, home health sales. Sales is in quotes. So I guess that means like just cold calling and having people hang up on you, I'm guessing, because I've done sales too. First pay was $25K, public school counselor. I'm guessing that was in Florida because that sounds like a Florida salary for someone in the school system, which is criminal. Oh, I have a bunch here that got cut off. I was a counselor at a group for mentally disabled adults. One of the adults threw his poop at me, and when I called the supervisor to report it, she said not only did I have to stay and not go get changed, but I also had to clean up the mess for $16 an hour. Ay, ay, ay. Forget my DQ answer. I was 14 then. My first adult job was about $28K a year. See, there's a pattern here. There is a pattern. Stage managing a one-man show. Jillian, I need to know more about this on Instagram. Stage managing a one-man show about getting his wife pregnant. Worst comedy ever. I can't even imagine what that was like, but I need to know the name of it so I can Google it immediately. Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Paid nothing except years off my life. That's one of my sorority sisters. Working at a call center, people called to locate underground utilities. $4.95 an hour was first pay. That's my friend Dip Girl. Transferring dead bodies at $14 an hour. Brutal conditions and situations. I can't even, there's not enough money in the world for the people who have to do that. That's horrible. My dad was a CPA. I got paid to switch pages out of some books that were updated. That sounds super, super stimulating. Oh, another person chiming in, Enterprise Rent-A-Car. That place is crazy. Tell me more. I love to know more about the corporate underbelly and what goes on, and exposing all the secrets. Started out as a nanny, became a personal assistant. Starting pay was, are you ready for this? $3 an hour. $3 an hour. Babysat, kid had diarrhea. Oh, he definitely did. I was paid in free swim coupons from her work. So she didn't even get paid in dollars. She got free swim coupons. That's horrible. Working in a food manufacturing plant, awful smell, awful repetitive work, awful everything. That sounds awful. That would probably change too, depending on what they were manufacturing. I bet you never ate that again. Crunchy Kate, oh my God, I'm still trying to think of my worst job ever. Waitressing is still taking the cake. So I never waitressed, but I was a hostess for about 3 months when I moved out of my parents' house and lived with my then boyfriend, who became my first husband. I worked at Hops. I don't even know if it exists anymore, but it was like a TGI Fridays type place. I had never worked in restaurants in my life, but I needed like a steady Monday through Friday job. So the guy liked me and he hired me as a hostess until like 3 o'clock. So I'd have time to interview for other jobs. It was like torture. I hated it. I hated being in that environment. No, it was just not, I give people credit who can be on their feet all day and serve people food who are strangers, because I wanted to murder everybody that walked in, and I wasn't even serving them. I was just seating them. Meredith says Baskin Robbins at $4.25 an hour, but free ice cream. That might be worth it. Hey, Carol, I put on my closet lipstick before you got here. Okay. Blockbuster telling people they didn't rewind and are getting charged a fee. I bet you are super popular. My first real job paid $23,000. Worst job was doing cold calls to radio stations to pitch someone's book. Soul sucking. Yeah. When you have to cold call for anything, it's soul sucking. That's like why people who are doing that job sound so miserable, because it is miserable work. Tropical Smoothie Cafe. First real job was babysitting for $6 an hour. First job was a pizzeria phone girl, $5 an hour. Worst job, coffee shop, lasted a day. Same girl, 2 days. 2 days at the golf course I lasted. Worst job, we had a bunch of people who chimed in and said their worst job ever was retail. Worst job, retail store in the mall, so much folding. First salary, not at the retail job, was $26,500. Part-time retail 15 years old, $263 an hour. First full-time job as a farmhand at 18 years old, $90 a week for 90 hours a week. $1 an hour? That's not okay. First real job in salary in 1994 was $19,800. Yeah, my first salary was not too long after that. $19,800. You can't even live on that, with children especially. Okay, that was all Instagram. These are Facebook. Here's a teacher. Does it count if I'm still doing it? Teaching. I can't get out of it fast enough. And this is the problem. We have so many good people who are teachers, and we're working them to the bone and paying them shit, and no wonder they're miserable. Okay, Lynn, TCBY in Aventura. I frequented that TCBY at $5 an hour at 14 years old. First real job, $28K, assistant manager at Gable's Beauty Supply. I frequented there too. I still do. There's one around the corner from me. Wait a minute. Carol, first job, disco roller skating rink. I need to know what your job was there. And it's funny that my cousin just signed on underneath you, because she too worked at a roller skating rink in the 80s. And I would go and hang with her there and thought she was the coolest, because she could go behind the counter and get popcorn and soda and all kinds of stuff. And I mean, I thought she was like the coolest person to ever live. I got offered a salaried position recently for $45K and can't even afford to take that. I have 3 kids. Yeah. $45K would be great if you were like single and had no children. With children, I don't know how you do that, because even if you don't live a life of indulging in anything that you want, $45K after taxes with children is going to be very, very frustrating. Close time, worst job ever. I trained in Sawgrass Mills during the holidays. I can't imagine being in any retail during the holidays. Do they pay you overtime if you work holidays in retail, or do you just get whatever you normally get paid? My friend worked at the Gap, lasted her 8-hour shift and then quit. The folding did her in. Another friend worked at 9 West, restocking all the shoes and having to push 3 pairs when a woman only asked for 1. So my brother worked at a shoe store when he was a teenager, and they had like an upstairs downstairs, so you had to go into the basement to get shoes out of stock when people wanted to try them on. And he got so sick of going up and down that he used to lie to people and tell them they were just out of the size because he couldn't do it. Hi, Jessica. Okay. Another retail. Jamie says, Express, I hated having to pitch people to get a credit card, so I would just look for old ladies and chat with them instead. I lasted a week. Jamie, you're my people. Oh, that's nice. So I had my my old coworker, I didn't even see this until I printed it out, said ESPN. So my paid internship in grad school that I thought would land me all kinds of major paid opportunities was I worked for ESPN in Miami. And I mean, there's nothing cooler than saying you work for ESPN, right? Like that's going to open so many doors. Nope. I still got paid $25,000 a year, my first job out of school, even with ESPN on my resume. Disney offered me $6.90 an hour for 2 shifts a week for the kids camp at the Polynesian with my bachelor's in education. It wouldn't have ever paid for gas out there. Right, but and I don't know how Disney pays now. From what I hear, they're pretty good to their employees, but so many people want to work at Disney that they don't have to be competitive with salaries, I would imagine. Look, Jenna. Wait, Lynn, do you know Jenna? My friend Jenna worked at TCBY in the Promenade Shops, work experience for school, didn't even know she was living her best life. And that's the other thing. So we can joke about all these things being the worst jobs, but think about how little responsibility we had. Like people are bitching about restocking shoes and folding clothes, but I bet a lot of you would take that for a day to take a break from the whining and being a snack bitch and all the things that go along just for a day. Like just for a day, that would be a break. Folding jeans at the Gap would be a break. Not jeans. They don't fold jeans, right? Whatever they fold. Okay, probably Target, although it wasn't that bad. It was the boredom of retail, basically. Although the whole will rate how fast you check people out thing gave me a heart attack. Wait, that happens? Because at my Target, there's no sense of urgency to check anyone out. And sometimes there's only one register open when it's like rush hour. So I don't get it. My first real job was at a hot dog ice cream place in the park where my recent ex-boyfriend, who broke up with me a few weeks before, paid what was New York's minimum wage, which was $6.15 an hour. I can't. Head of guest services at Aventura Mall. Oh, God, you deserve a medal. Hell on earth, but Corny the Clown and I did become friends. First job was at ABC News, Good Morning America, and it paid amazingly. Not sure how I went from that to freaking Aventura Mall. Short-lived. Yeah, seriously. My friend Nicole said my husband wins this. He worked at a local animal groomer. He was paid minimum wage and will never like a cat after dealing with them. You could not pay me to work at an animal groomer. That would be like a nightmare. Carol, my friend Carol, says, worst job. It was a temp job at a VD clinic. No. I didn't realize that for a few days and then done. Carol, you might win. Okay. In college, I was a hostess at a very popular restaurant or bar near Fenway Park for roughly 1 shift. When they put me on, I felt so undertrained. There were dozens of table numbers to know and names to keep track of and piece of meat-ish. I can't talk tonight. It was several hours of feeling frantic and ogled. I just never showed up again. I do not blame you. Chuck E. Cheese in Promenade. Guys, Chuck E. Cheese. Can you imagine? Were you sick every week? Carol, you lost your top fan status? I didn't know that was a thing. Hurry up and get it back. You're still my top fan. Still in my top fan club. Not my worst job, but my first job. I was 14 and insisted on working against my parents' will. I got paid cash under the table at a tanning salon. I believe it was around $4 or $5 an hour, and I actually liked the job quite a bit. Well, yeah, 14, where you're getting $5 an hour, no taxes taken out, and you get to sit in a tanning salon and watch people come and go. It's probably very fun. Kara, Publix bakery in high school. Too old to remember how much I made. Had to wear a hairnet. Enough said. Yep, enough said. Oh, that was another thing. They told my mom when she worked at Howard Johnson's that she had to wear a hairnet, and she was like, no. I worked in a meat packing plant in the office, had to walk through hanging carcasses every morning at 6:30 to get to my office. Ugh. My first and worst job was at Clark Fish Market in New Jersey. I was 15, pretending to be 16. I had to touch some real disgustingness, but it was a summer job. All right, and then a few answers from my Wine Tribe. Hashtag Wine Tribe on Facebook if you want to join. Put in a request and I will approve it. My first job at 14 was at a deli in New York for a friend of my dad's. It was a very hot summer and he never put on the AC. It constantly smelled like sweat and yeast. Just dry heaved. I got paid $5.50 an hour. My dad's friend was very strict and constantly, oh, it got cut off. I think I read this and it said, told your dad you were flirting. Kelly, if you're here, tell me if that's right, because it got cut off. I was a mother's helper. This is you, Jessica. I was a mother's helper when I was 12. They paid me $2 an hour to watch her while mom worked from home. That's a pretty good gig. Can I get a mother's helper for $2 an hour while I work from home? Then they started leaving me alone with her and going out. At 12, then they had a second baby and still paid me $2 an hour. I was lucky if I got $10 for the whole night. I magically got too busy to keep working for them. And now you are a mother, no? Could you imagine ever giving someone $2 an hour to watch 2 children? First job working with kids, minimum wage like 5 something. Worst job, waitress, gross, and sucked at it. So there you go, guys. The theme is we are all underpaid and underappreciated, and we've all gone through some shit to get to the trenches of parenthood now, which I think we all can agree. Although it's probably much more difficult. I wouldn't go back to my $25,000 a year job where, by the way, when I got interviewed by the vice president of the company who was like super into herself, and she actually interviewed me in between getting highlights. So she had foils all in her hair, and like it was like a scene from like a very outdated version of like The Devil Wears Prada, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So we have all paid our dues, is what I'm gathering from this conversation. Am I right? All right, vent sesh is going to be quick. So we've talked about in the past, lots of people have opinions when it comes to your kids. They like to tell you how they should be sleeping, what they should be eating. You know, they like to basically parent your children, even though they have nothing to do with your children. So one of the things that's been driving me crazy this past year, my daughter is 2, she's almost 2.5, and she still loves her pacifier. And I don't care. I don't care that she loves her pacifier. It doesn't bother me. But I have people close to me, family, friends, who are always like, can I have your passy? Or you should take that passy out of her mouth. You don't need that passy. And I want to scream and be like, leave my child alone. If she wants the pacifier, let her have the pacifier. Who cares? Who cares about the pacifier? And I'll tell you that with my first child, I cared about the pacifier. I wanted that thing out of her mouth at like, I think she was 2.5 on the dot, and we got rid of it. We tried cutting them, we tried hiding them, a million things. I was so dead set on getting rid of the pacifier with my first one. And now in retrospect, I feel bad that I rushed her, because she wasn't going to kindergarten with a pacifier. Who cares? Exactly, Crunchy Kate. She isn't going to bring it to college with her, so calm down, people. Who care? Amanda, who cares about the pacifier? Amanda, a lot of people have things to say about my child with a pacifier. She doesn't have it in school. She's very good about it. When she goes to camp or school, she'll have it in the car, and I say, okay, give me your passy. No passy in school. And she goes in fine, but she likes it. And so she's a baby, and she's my last baby. I'm not having any more. So if she wants to suck that pacifier till the cows come home, I don't give a shit. And so nobody else should either, because she's not your child. So do me a favor. If you're one of those people and you're watching, because there's many of them, and I'm not being passive aggressive, I'll call you out if I see you here. My best friend Marnie does it all the time. She's like, give me that passy. If you are not the mother of my children, because I am, there's no other mother, I'm the mother, stop telling my child or me or my husband or anyone to take out the pacifier. My kid can have her pacifier. Period. End of story. If you don't like it, don't give your kid a pacifier. Okay? That's like the that should be the mantra for all of parenting. If you don't like it, don't do it for your kids, but don't judge other people. Period. End of story. Enough said. Let's not get crazy. Let's stay in our lanes. It's like potty training, bottle or sippy cup. They aren't going to be an 18 in a pull-up still drinking out of a bottle. Seriously, complete Fam 5. You're right. They're not. They're definitely not. Oh, I missed a couple comments. My 6-year-old still sucks her thumb. I can't take her thumb away. Figure if that's the worst problem I have, I'm lucky. True story, Jessica. Okay, so you've seen the past few weeks here that I have a show sponsor. I can't tag them on Instagram, but on Instagram, Skinnylish Miami, and on Facebook, it's Skinny Soup. They are the best. I get weekly deliveries from them, and I'm so obsessed. I'm obsessed. This month they have salmon Caesar. Well, they have a Caesar salad with any protein, but I get salmon. It is so good. I asked for multiple ones, and you guys should try it because it is so good. So message her on Instagram, or click the link on either of them and check it out. But she's awesome, and she's local. Sorry if you're not in South Florida, but she delivers from South Beach to West Palm. Wait, I'm missing comments. Hold on. Okay, that makes me feel so better. My girl's 3 and still obsessed with milk in her bottle. My baby still gets milk in her bottle every night. She uses a sippy cup all day, but at night she likes her bottle. That was another thing that I was like crazy with my first one. Let her have the bottle. She's only a baby once. I sucked my thumb until I was 9. I turned out pretty okay. You did turn out pretty okay, Amanda. Meredith, I teach children to swim with pacifiers in their mouth. Okay, well, I won't have mine have hers in her mouth. I want her to really learn how to swim after she gets her staples out of her head from jumping in the pool like an animal. My son had a total meltdown at Publix a couple weeks ago. Some older lady felt the need to tell me the floor was dirty and full of germs. Really, I had no idea. Sometimes I hate people. I really do. All right, guys. So if you're local in South Florida, definitely check out Skinnyish Miami or Skinny Soup on Facebook and place your orders because you will not be disappointed. It is so delicious and healthy, and I eat it on my lap in the car because I'm constantly running around and I don't have time to sit down. I don't know when the last time I really sat, unless we got a sitter and we went to dinner and enjoyed a meal. Because even if I sit at my dining room table, Mommy, get me this, Mommy, get me this, Mommy, get me this. It makes me crazy. So that's it for tonight. Hello, Australian natural skincare. Did I get it right? It's scrolling up. Hello to you too. And thank you guys all for joining tonight. I'm going to take one more sip and cheers you. I hope you have a good rest of the week. My little one's going to be home with me now instead of being in camp until she gets those stupid things out of her head. And that's it. So everyone, I gotta admit, I miss the passive parenting I got in the 1970s. Okay. You can miss it. That's okay. Everyone have a great rest of the week, and I will catch up with all of you guys next Monday. And this topic came from a viewer, so I love when you guys give me ideas of things that you want to talk about. So feel free to message me. Cheers, Brian. Everyone have a great night, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye.